Hi there, sorry for that interruption. Our technical guys informed us that there was a glitch in the system. We apologize for that in case you just joined us. Leonard Gildarie couldn't make it. Our guest this evening is Theatre Guild personality, director of plays, and the treasurer of the Theatre Guild, but mostly known for his firebrand politics and one of the founders of the resuscitated political party of the 60s, founded by iconic businessman Peter de Gaulle, the United Force. So we had a break there, and we're back, and we're going to tune it down a little bit from politics. We'll come back to that.
We still got local government politics to deal with.
Malcolm DeFreitas just told me he wants to deal with local government politics. He was a contestant in 2 consecutive local government elections. But let's cool it down a bit and talk about Theatre Guild. You are a director, you directed a few plays, you're a full-time person at the Theatre Guild, you're treasurer of the Theatre Guild. You know what I like about that is I'm glad that a working class boy is part of the Theatre Guild, because the Theatre Guild started as a very, very upper middle class elitist thing by the colonials in Guyana. Of course, at that time, that was understandable. Working class people didn't have time for the theatre. But I'm glad it is, like so many other things, it has been decolonialized and the class elitism is ebbing. What are some of the plays you have directed?
Well, I've directed many plays. My first play was Terminus by Dennis Scott. Then I had a lot of other plays. Then I did Shakespeare. I did,
which one of Shakespeare?
Midsummer's Night Dream. I did that twice. And I did Macantally. And I'm trying to do some work on a play called Coffee, Kuffy, a historical drama, Guyanese historical drama. I'm still working on it. As a director, you maybe have 2 or 3 months where you're just thinking about how you would do it even before you cast the play. So I'm in that period where I'm just working out some of those elements in relation to that play. I'm hopeful that before the end of this year, that play will be in production.
Okay. It is very strange, though. You hardly find active politicians, active political activists in the theatre. You normally would have outspoken writers and novelists and playwrights. But you've always been active in politics. Now I am going to say something which I'm journalistically compelled to say that may be unpleasant, but you're my friend, and I have to say it. You lost 2 elections in your local government contest. Why you didn't win? You're quite known in Georgetown. Everybody knows. Because the Georgetown working class ambience and the people in the street.
That's true.
No Malcolm DeFreitas.
But we have constituency frames, 15 constituency frames in the city of Georgetown, the municipality of Georgetown. A candidate could only contest in 1. The one I'm contesting in is constituency number 1. It takes a little while. If I could have run for the entire city as a constituency, I would have been in there 2 years ago.
In the city council?
And you know that. I would have been there. But by the constituency frame, and the first past the post person gets it, and I'm not with any political group that I have the background, the other stuff, we call the other votes that could give another person a seat to make the 30. So I'm only contesting in the 15, and I'm only contesting in 1 in the 15. And that is the limitation that I have, and I accept that. But the important thing is that my ideas get out there, and I can use, if you give me the opportunity, I can speak about some of the things I would like to see, the problems that the city have and why they have it, and how some of those problems can be resolved. But I'm waiting to you when we get to that, and then we will deal with that.
No, well, I know you contested twice and you'll be contesting next year.
Yes.
You have a platform.
Thank you. I accept the platform.
Except you don't go on and on and on, and next thing you know, time reaching. We haven't been able to talk about. We haven't been able to talk about.
Well, I can talk
former presidencies.
Well, we can talk about all of that. Oh, you're going to invite me again. This is going to be the first time. The issue we have in the city of Georgetown is a matter of money. Money is the problem. Now, why is money the problem? Simply because there is very little properties in the city of Georgetown that has an accurate assessment of value. Why do I say that? The last valuation of the city of Georgetown was either in 1996 or maybe 1998. Now there's law. Law says that every 5 years you must have a revaluation by the chief valuation officer. The law also says that he has to be instructed by the Minister of Finance to so do. So every Minister of Finance since in the late 90s has failed in their duty to this nation in having valuations. It's not only for the city, it's for every place. Every 5 years he's supposed to have a revaluation. It has not occurred. That's like over 25 years now. And that is where the problem of money, income coming into the city as a problem. What happened in that 25 years? Prices rose. That is the problem. So you have rising prices, same level of income, what happens? City got problems in that. And that is a part of the major part of the city problem lies in that. The other part of the city problem is that we have not constructed in a managerial sense for the expanded city. And that is a part of the other problem. That's a problem now in management, internal management. And that, I get into the council, that will be resolved. Very simple. It's a very simple thing to do. But we have to have the will and the courage to get it done. So I'm hopeful that when I get to the council after this election, the other members of the councils would see the value of what I'm saying here tonight and exercises those opportunities. The other problem we have is the Local Government Commission, which is a body that is apparently a managerial body, an operational body, and a judicial body. Well, those three things can be lying down in one body. But the law, when you read the law, it gives them those powers. And those powers don't mesh together. It creates problems for the council. It creates problems not only for the city council, but it creates problems for other councils. Why? Because you have political interference occurs from the commission. The commission, how it is structured, it's a political body. And as a political body, they make political decisions. It's not like a civil society body, people who are concerned about the entire local government system, who have an understanding local government system and want to improve it. No. When you look at the difficulties that the mayor has, the council has, the town clerk has, the difficulty with previous town clerks, and you ask yourself, but the town clerk supposed to be the servant of the council. That's one law. The other law says the town clerk must adhere to the decision of the commission. So, what does that person do? So, I think we have to have a major revision of if we're going to keep it, the Local Government Commission, so that it adheres to the principles of the other legislations, because it is contradictory to the other legislation. And I can't understand, well, I don't understand, I can understand why, but I don't understand why our Attorney General, who seems to be, whatever you think he's a legal luminary.
He is.
Well, no.
That's
allows that to happen. Oh. He allows that to happen for political purposes. And that is not an adherence to proper law. And that is supposed to be as far as
You can't blame the Attorney General for that. That's a whole system you're talking about.
But if the system
But if the attorney-
is the leading figure in the system.
He
is a leading figure in the system.
Attorney General, the Attorney General doesn't make laws on his own. If you have a law, if the government intends to pass a law that says you cannot fish in Region 5, or a ferry cannot be so much size in Region 2, the Attorney General will draft the law. But when the law is drafted, you can't say what the Attorney General will do. Governments make laws. The Attorney General is there to advise.
I understand that, but
I hope you understand that, so don't blame the man.
No, hold on. I'm not blaming the man. It's in his office. What does his office require him as a legal person to do? I'm not saying that what is his office done as a political person to do. He does that. But what does his office ask him as a legal person
Well, that's
to
assuming what you're saying. I am not an expert in that.
No.
I know you contested an election twice. But I don't, is that, I don't know, and we'll have to explore it, whether that contradiction, you're saying is a contradiction in relation to who the town clerk serves.
No. It's a contradiction to 2801 and other 28s, right? So you have 2802, 2803, 28, I think we have to about 2808. All right? That law, right? Some of the adherence and the procedures and the policies that adhere in those laws. This law contradicts some of that. So the laws are in contradiction to one another. Now, I have pity on the town clerk who is given a direction under one law and somebody with another law, exercising legal law, has given them a different instruction in relation to the same issue. What does the town clerk do? You see, that's the problem. You create a dilemma for the people who has to make the system work. And that is the problem.
Well, we'll have to have you back. In other words, you're going to use this platform to campaign.
Well, thank you for
I don't have a problem with that. Just like how you will use this platform, we'll invite other people.
I don't have a problem with that.
One of the foundations of the Gildarie Freddie Kissoon show is to have people who are not given enough publicity in this country and should be given adequate publicity to express their views. You've been around a long time, and people hear about this body, Sherwood Duncan, this, Lickford Bark, David Hines. But people need to hear what Malcolm DeFreitas, who's been around a long, long time. I think the resurrection of the United Force preceded many third parties. Mm. Let me ask you as time going. Mm. You've never seen, and I think maybe I can understand, but you've never seemed to have gravitated to any political party, and like your leader Mansour Nadir, who's gravitated to the PPP, and he has stayed there. You never seem to have been.
At one time I thought that in the early period I thought that the Alliance for Change would have been making a very effective difference in our society. Many of us thought so. I joined that party, and after about 3 months they had a campaign. For one reason or another, I reckon to be a pretty good public speaker. No opportunity to speak, and I'm saying to myself, what am I doing here? Don't I have a brain? Don't I have understandings of these things? More than most of those in there. Because I had a history. None of them had a history bar, I think, Trotman and Comrades, right? And I'm saying, what's going on? So I just let that die away. And then I look at the dynamics inside of the Alliance for Change, and I say, well, it's a good thing I did what I did, because I would have been unhappy with myself if I had to speak on a public platform for them, and that is what they're doing now, right? Somewhere along the line, I think the Alliance for Change, and I don't know if they couldn't handle government or whatever, but for whatever reason, they changed dramatically, and it changed the entire concepts in which they originally started out. And I thought that was a terrible thing to do to the people.
We could talk the whole night about the Alliance for Change, but I will tell you why. I will tell you why they didn't allow you in. It's a curse. It's a curse of political parties. There were only two people in that party that had some political background, as you rightfully say, Kemaj Ramchatan. But the rest of people were middle class people who had didn't know how to spell politics. I mean, I couldn't understand after they got into power how some people got ministerial jobs. People without no experience, etc. But you know why you were not allowed there? Because they sense that this is somebody that is vocal, this is a no-nonsense person, and he's not going to say, because y'all form the party, y'all must hog everything. And earlier clock, I think they say, no. What political parties want are sycophants. It's you may be laughing, but it has.
Well, I'm certainly not one. That's why I'm laughing.
But why? Malcolm, I hope the older folks are listening. My theoretical understanding of Guyanese politics lead me to the inevitable conclusion that I accept that the PPP and PNC are essentially working class organizations. I don't know why the working class people from the PNC and PPP keep fighting. A middle class party like the WPA came. A middle class party like the AFC came. And people went onto the bandwagon. I did for the WPA, I did for the FC, but I had working class intentions. My thing was, why haven't you chosen one of the two and work with them? Of course, the PNC has historically been a problem.
No, PNC has not been a problem to me. And the PPP, I don't think the PPP at this point, I cannot and do not consider them a working class group. You check the ministerial frames, the top level of that party, and show me if they have 5 people who are working class people in the PPP at this point. The PNC, I don't know much about them. I just listen to the dynamics that were going on. But I agree with you. When you study like Fanon, you ask yourself that question. And that's a question that actually comes out of Fanon. Why is it that people who have just been decolonialized in a political sense still adheres to colonialism mentally? And their structures, they don't change in those colonial structures. That is the problem. Now, when we change those colonial structures, and our society don't work under those principles, we may have a different frame. The PPP might become in truly working class. But I don't see their working class right now. When they made a commitment to their campaign to give old age pensioners $50,000, and I'm advised, in this budget, the old age pensioners is getting $33,000. I think that's a deliberate insult to the working class. It is the working class who actually needs that money, because many of them may be marginal. They need that money. And they are old, maybe not be able to work as effectively as they were in their early youth. But you made a commitment to them and you fail in their commitment. And this budget fails that commitment, unless they amend it before their budget comes in, because listening to my voice here tonight. And that'd be a great thing for the Gildarie Kissoon show.
Well, I cannot let you go. I'm an independent person. I have nothing, no relationship. I've been told up 10 times I'm in the pay of the PPP. Something I would welcome. I need the money, but nobody from the PPP and I don't know why they haven't decided to offer a payment to me. But
because
to do
they
what?
can't handle your pressure.
But if they pay me, I would like to know to do what.
Exactly.
They have to tell me to. But I can't let go unattended, that statement, but name me 5 people. The PPP has always been, under PNC, having their leaders from the womb of the working class. I mean, you take a guy like the Minister of Agriculture, Zulfikar Mustafa. Do you know where Anil Nandalal came from? Do you know where Irfan Ali came from? None of those people came from look, I know where Anil Nandalal came from in Annandale. I taught Anil Nandalal at UG. I knew the uncles, not uncles of parents of the president, very ordinary people from Lenora. Take, for example, Aubrey Norton, Robert Corbin, ordinary boy, some Christian boy. But you seem to knock the PNC, but knocking the PPP for loss of working class credentials. The PNC came into power in 2015, and it was an elitist government.
I am not denying that. I am not denying that they were an elitist government. But that is the issue. I'm talking about the colonialist frames that still lie in our political management. That is what I'm talking about. When I use the word 5, I don't mean it as a literal 5 members. You can pick 5 members from any group and they are working class members. That was not it. They, as government, are they operating in the best interests of the working class? That is what I'm getting at. And I don't consider neither when the PNC, AFC was in government, nor the PPP today is dealing in working class principles in relation to the management of the country. But it's their opportunity. And some people would say to me, and I can hear it tomorrow, so I can say it now. But Malcolm, this government give out handing out monies, etc., to people in lower class. Yes, not denying that. Does that make them a working class government?
Okay, Malcolm, we have to close now. I will ask you if there's anything you want to say. I know you. I'm going to point my finger in your face and say, please give your closing remarks and avoid libel. Malcolm, I've been sued by the president of Guyana. I just came out of a libel case, sued by a high court judge. 2 vice chancellors of UG sue me. I am afraid. I'm not afraid of everything except libel. Your closing remarks, please avoid libel.
Thank you for the restraint and the constraint. It saddens me when a commentator who is commentating in terms of his best knowledge is sued because the people has a perception that what he's saying is libelous. But be it as it is, that some people need to get enriched that way. But the issue in my closing remarks, I want to say to the constituency 1 of the city of Georgetown.
You have to tell people where is constituency 1.
Yeah, they know where it is. Constituency.
Please tell the viewers where it is.
I'll do that.
That's our God. You're assuming people know.
I'm good. Atlantic Ocean, Demerara River, Church Street, Irving Street. That is constituency 1. But the issue in my closing remarks I want to address really is the issue of how do we educate our nation to develop political maturity? And I think we have a sociological problem if we have not defined. I see you trying to define it, to see some new terms you bring up, and I say, yes, at least this is great work. You know, I think today you talk about some TUW something or whatever. But the very fact that you're trying to place things, classifying them so that we can analyze, so we can agree and disagree whether it is so or not, I think that's a great thing, Freddie. Very few commentators talk like that, right? And I appreciate that. We have had a long friendship. We had many arguments. I mean, we started a small video with something that you wanted to kill me about way back when. But I
will still kill you, yeah.
Well, if my friend want to kill me, I'm not going to die easy. But the issue we have is that but I'm hopeful that ever since I have addressed the problem of money in the city and the responsibility of the Minister of Finance, all he has to do is to make an order in the Gazette. The Chief Valuation Officer has to follow that instruction. That instruction brings parity to the equivalency in terms of different values for property in the city of Georgetown and in other cities and other places. And when we do that, do you know in the law, the city council should not be in debt? It's actually contrary to law. And when I read this thing, I was like amazed. The law of itself specifies that the city council must not be in debt. But the city council got in debt with NIS, credit union, garbage collectors, staff, and all these things. Why? Because the political elite at the central government tier has not effectively looked after the money function that lies in the law in relation to the cities. And not only the city of Georgetown, other municipalities and other local government frames also have this problem. And unless we solve this problem, we're going to be, but the government has to spend so much money to dig half a trench. Unnecessary. It is not the government's responsibility. And that's the problem we have. We must adhere to the responsibilities as set out. But central government will only be coming in as an act of intervention that is necessary. And there's only one time I have seen where we had a les major. That was at Sussex Street, where they had a problem there with Tulsi and whatever. And the president then, Barajaclio, he made an intervention. That is the only intervention that I will, the major. And that is the problem we have. Every day I hear the minister of this is doing this for the city, or the minister of that for doing the city. I understand that some of the roads are central government control roads, and they have to maintain it. Does the city now have a road building program? Does it have road building equipment? What is the need for equipment by the city? That's where the money got to go. And that is part of the problem. The problem we have is money. The only way to solve it is right money. The problem we have is management. The only way to solve it is better management. It's as simple as that.
Well, that was a very long, I would think this program has been running for 7 months now. And that's the longest closing statement by a guest. And that closing statement was used by the guests for political campaigning in the next local government elections. Wherever you are, this has been the Freddie Kissoon Gildarie show, the Gildarie Freddie Kissoon show. Sometimes we interchange it. Leonard Gildarie was not here this evening. He will be here on Friday. We had as our guest one of the long-standing political activists in this country, but without much flair and his name being in the papers all the time. But it's somebody who's been active in politics for a very long time, and we want to give those kind of people a platform. And indeed, he certainly used the platform. But that's Malcolm DeFreitas, and we hope as we get into local government election, if this program is still around, we will have Malcolm DeFreitas again. Malcolm, thanks for being here.
It's good being here, Fred.
Okay. Thanks for being with us. See you on Friday.